A while ago, I wanted to find my favorite Pokemon. After I finished filling out the page and finding the answer, I wondered if there was a Pokemon game that I was able to beat with the Pokemon that I chose as my favorites. This included my favorite Pokemon from each type, to my favorites from each generation, and finally, my sole favorite Pokemon. This is the start of a journey to beat a Pokemon game with only my favorite Pokemon. Firstly, I needed to find a game where I could catch a decent amount of Pokemon. Well, actually, for that, I needed to find a game with a starter that I could use. I had only 3 real options, so I decided on the Generation 6 Pokemon games, Pokemon X and Y. This worked out well in my opinion, because 1, it was a game that I had never played before, 2, one of the starters was a favorite of mine, and 3, my favorite Pokemon of all time could be caught in this game. So I loaded up Pokemon Y and started my journey through Kalos. I'll keep the Pokemon that I can use the secret, but here are the ones that are either not in this game or I just didn't use. Okay, that's enough reading. I know that my audience are gamers, so let's get into some gaming with me choosing my starter. So, which one do you think I'll pick? I'll give you some time to think about it. Okay, time's up. If you said Chespin, you would be wrong. But if you happen to say Froakie, well, congratulations, because you're also wrong. So to start my journey, I got myself a Fennekin, which will evolve into my favorite Generation 6 Pokemon, Delphox. I'll be explaining each of the reasons for my favorite Pokemon, and I'm mentioning this now because I think me choosing Fennekin might need a bit of explaining. Delphox is my favorite Generation 6 Pokemon, mainly because of anime reasons. I thought that was really cool in terms of Pokemon performances, and that hasn't really been the focus on someone's starter. The only exception to this is Dawn's Piplup, but I think the Fennekin line suits the Pokemon performance vibe more. Out of the 3 in the Fennekin line, my favorite is Delphox, because it feels more mysterious and magic-like, which I find pretty cool. However, I really didn't know what the internet did to this Pokemon's evolutionary line, specifically Braixen. What the hell is wrong with you horny people? So it was either A, ignore the internet's drawings and let Delphox be my favorite, or B, be extremely basic and choose Greninja. And I thought A was the best choice for some reason, so here we are. So I got into the game straight away, but not much actually happens throughout the beginning, and I don't catch any new Pokemon. So let's just skip straight to the gym battle. I didn't really have many worries coming into this gym since it was a bug type gym, but I actually did almost die a couple of times, which was kind of embarrassing. Aside from that, Viola's gym battle went by pretty smoothly, and I won myself my first gym badge. I then went to Lumio City, where I lost to Professor Sycamore and received a Bulbasaur that I immediately boxed Cold Bulbapedia. I met a random guy who doesn't contribute to the plot of the game whatsoever and totally isn't a key character. And then I met someone who actually does things. My Fennekin evolved into a Braixen, and now I'm being forced to look after a berry garden. I ditched it immediately, and now I'm being forced to fetch a flute so that some karate guy can play it. But screw that, because we're going to Route 6 where I can finally catch myself a new Can't catch a new Pokemon. Anyways, we're forced to pay a fee that makes the rich get richer, and now I'm getting forced to be a part of pest control and catch a dog on the loose. I'm starting to feel that this game is going to be very forceful with its story. I had to sit for a very cheesy romance scene with no bugs in the game whatsoever.
What is that?
And now I can actually catch my first Pokemon that I can use besides my starter, Sentret. Sentret evolves into my favorite normal type, Ferret. The reason behind my love for this Pokemon is mostly biased, as it was the first Pokemon that I ever caught. But hey, there's nothing wrong with having biased favorites. I mean, my most favorite Pokemon was a pretty biased pick as well. But anyways, more on Ferret. I mean, can you blame me for liking it? Look at it, it's just adorable. While Ferret may not have high battling capabilities, it's a very special Pokemon to me, and it earns itself a spot as one of my favorites. Snorlax woke up from the terrible flute playing of the karate guy, and it decided to attack me for no reason. It licked the Braixen and then died. Something that I wish had left my conscience long ago. Please save me. After that, something unbelievable happened though. It was so shocking that my reaction was too much for the recording. So amazingly cool that I just couldn't show it to you guys. The game crashed. And I didn't save. I fixed it somehow though. After that sidetrack, I went and caught 2 new additions to my team, Zubat and Absol. I always thought that Absol was a cool Pokemon. Its design is pretty cool, and its color scheme appealed to me. I also used one while playing through Pokemon Emerald for the first time, and it dominated almost any fight I put it in. Its Mega Evolution adds on top of my love for it. Just look at it. Stare at it. Admire it. Okay, that's enough of that. And Crobat's my favorite poison type because, actually I don't remember why. Let's just say that I used it on my team as a child because that's pretty believable. I trekked through a tunnel that belonged in a horror game, met some very inconspicuous guys that have no relevance, and I got a fossil that will never see the light of day. Maybe this would be different if it was more likable. Speaking of likable, I caught 3 EVs. I tried taking on the gym, but it just did not work out well for me, so I decided to retreat where I stumbled upon a Thunderstone. That's cool. If only I could use it. I got a Jolteon now. Jolteon has always been my favorite evolution among the squad, and my favorite Generation 1 Pokemon. It has a pretty cool design, it uses my favorite type, Electric, and I've used it a lot when making Pokemon teams. I guess this is also a biased pick because I have a Jolteon plushie, and it was the first one that I got. But then again, I don't see a Flareon on my list, and I have a plushie of that, so yeah. I also think I have some weird memory of reading a Pokemon comic with a bunch of evolutions of Eevee in it, and I like the Jolteon in that. But that might just be my mind playing games on me, so I might just ignore that completely and just say that Jolteon's my favorite Generation 1 Pokemon. After a lot of training, I took on the second gym again, and this time I had much better results. I actually took on Grant this time, and my team managed well. Absol also managed to land a critical hit to end the battle, which was pretty hype. I quickly went through Geosenge Town and Reflection Cave, as they didn't have many important moments, so now I'm in Chalor City. I quickly went on a side quest to find my favorite Generation 2 Pokemon, favorite Electric type, my favorite Pokemon of all time, Mareep. Mareep evolves into Fluffy, and then Ampharos, my top favorite Pokemon. Since I grew up with the Johto Pokemon games, this is a slightly biased pick. I played through Pokemon Gold 4 different times, and I always had an Ampharos on my team. It was always a good Pokemon to use, and I thought that it looked cool. It's also a useful Pokemon in terms of out-of-battle use, which I thought was cool as well, since not many Pokemon can actually say that. One thing that added to my favoritism towards Ampharos is its Mega Evolution. They managed to make Ampharos look even better than they used to, and they also gave it the Dragon typing, which was really cool. I also named my first ever Ampharos Amphi, and guess who has an Ampharos named Amphi in the Pokemon Johto games? That's right! I forgot her name. Overall, Ampharos may not be the best Pokemon, but it is one of my favorites that I hold dear to my heart, thus making it my favorite Pokemon of all time. I headed over to the Tower of Mastery and learned a bit about Mega Evolution before getting into a bet for privileges to use it with Serena. She lost easily, and I earned approval for a Mega Ring. Mareep evolved into Fluffy, and now we're in the third gym. Golbat carried the team on her back, and Jolteon finished the scraps of Karina's team. Third gym badge was as good as mine. I battled Karina a second time at the Tower of Mastery and easily beat her. I obtained a Mega Ring and declined a free Lucario. And then what should have been me fighting Ramos turned into an hour of me playing with my Pokemon. But it was all worth it because after fighting Serena, my Golbat turned into a Crobat and my Eevee evolved into a Sylveon. I've always seen Sylveon as the most interesting evolution among them all. My love for it definitely grew after playing with it in the Pokemon Ami feature. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the start of my interest for Sylveon was always there. After looking at it for the first time, I easily fell in love with it. Its design was really appealing, and it was a really sweet Pokemon. Its personality in the Pokemon anime also boosts this Pokemon's likability for me. Overall, Sylveon is definitely one of my favorites, and I don't think this will change in the future. Now we actually fight Ramos, which was way too easy. My newly evolved Delphox pretty much dominated this gym, making this a clean sweep and an easy gym badge for me to obtain. To start off my journey to the 5th gym, I call myself a Trapinch. Well, actually that's a lie. I just forgot to mention it in the script, so I'm mentioning it here. Trapinch's final evolution, Flygon, is my favorite ground type. When I played through Pokemon Emerald, I actually used one, and it was actually way better than I thought it would be. Its design is really cool and unique. However, I felt as if it was overshadowed. Garchomp was always seen as the superior dragon ground type, and when Flygon should have been given a Mega, it was given to the Landshark instead. Flygon could have been made more memorable with the dragon bug typing, and overall, I think Flygon was just handled really badly by the Pokemon Company. Nevertheless, I still love Flygon as the underdog that it is, making it my second favorite Pokemon, and its overshadowing being more reason to love it. After beating more very normal people at the power plant, it was time for a very boring quiz, which is nowhere as good as the one I made, and a gym battle against Clement, with the help of Jolteon, Trapinch,
Bruh.
and Absol. The 5th gym badge was as good as mine. I got lost in Lumio City trying to find how to continue the story, and it only took me 5 sped up minutes to find the goddamn place. It wasn't even that relevant to the story. I had another fight with Serena, and it ended similarly to all the other times I've encountered her. I arrived in Lavera City, where I immediately fought Valerie. Jolteon and Absol came in handy, managing to take out Valerie's Mawile and Mr. Mime, and my Sylveon managed to outplay hers. With this, I had earned myself the 6th gym badge. After making my characters stylish as hell, I was tasked to save a Pokeball factory from more suspicious guys. It really wasn't that hard, and I'm honestly surprised the workers were scared of these guys. I then encountered more of them, but they were still as easy to beat as before. Now for something interesting. As you may know, Generation 6 is the generation that introduced Mega Evolution. So what if I had a specific Pokemon that started with the letter A that was capable of Mega Evolving? That's right, baby. We got the Absolite. I'm joking. It's obviously the Ampharos. I mentioned it before how I liked it so much. And with this, Mega Ampharos is only one battle away from being brought to life. And that one battle was against none other than Serena. Okay, after that obvious joke, it's actually time for Mega Ampharos' debut in the battle against Olympia. I first let Jolteon get an easy kill on the Sigilith, and then it was time. Mega Ampharos was brought to life, and it was ready to rumble. Mega Ampharos managed to take out Olympia's Slowking, and she managed to do major damage to Meowstic before fainting. Sure, it was disappointing that Ampharos died, but there will be more opportunities for her to shine. Jolteon finished off the Meowstic, and I earned the Psychic badge. Only one gym badge was left. Lysander decided to reveal that he was the villain of the game. Shocking, I know. And after a game crash, I decided to raid a secret base that was located in a very normal and not suspicious cafe. Lysander decided to finally battle me, only to get demolished by my team. I then went on a scavenger hunt to battle admins and find an elevator key. After succeeding in my search, I was greeted by another battle, and 2 buttons that could or could not destroy the world. Huh. It would be a shame if the button that could destroy the world was pressed. Oh wow. Anyway, my Vibrava evolved into a Flygon, and I went to Lysander's actual secret base, where Serena randomly appeared. Like, where did she come from? Lysander decided that monologuing was the right choice. It definitely wasn't, but we'll let him monologue, I guess. He tried battling me again, but like every single trainer, he never learns from his previous experiences. After tearing through hordes of Team Flare members, I reached the bottom floor and was greeted by even more Team Flare members. After beating even more of the fools, it was time. Time to face Pokemon XY's darkness, Yveltal, who I accidentally killed. Alright, now after catching Yveltal with a quick ball, who doesn't count as one of my favorites, it was time to fight Lysander for one last time. My Delphox easily demolished Lysander's Mienshao with one hit. Flygon knocked out his Pyroar, Jolteon destroyed Honchkrow, and even with a Mega Gyarados, Mega Ampharos prevailed over it, getting a paralysis to let it outspeed and win the battle. For a final battle, this was pretty one-sided. Lysander destroys the weapon as a last effort, and Kalos is saved. We got back on the journey to get all the gym badges, starting by not realizing there were stairs that led to the next area. Now we really get back on track with a fight against Professor Sycamore, who's actually really easy to beat this time. 1-1, Professor. I got into 3 more battles with 3 rivals that I really don't care about, and after a very, very long journey, I was finally at Snowbell City. The 8th gym badge was about to be mine. The gym leader wasn't there. Fuck. I walked into the Winding Woods, where I found the Moss Rock. And you know what Pokemon evolves with the Moss Rock? Tangela. Just kidding. If you've paid attention, you would know that I have 3 EVs. And how many EVs have I evolved? 2. So 3 minus 2 equals 1. 1 EV. Wow, I'm so good at math. So I got myself the final Pokemon of this playthrough, Leafeon. Leafeon is both my favorite grass type and Generation 4 Pokemon. My fondness for this Pokemon is mostly based on my imagination. When I think of Leafeon, I picture it as a nice and gentle Pokemon, and I imagine it being in some kind of calm forest. I also like the idea of just sitting outside in that exact forest, with the sun on my face, as I lie down next to my Leafeon, as we both relax. No distractions, just a quiet environment where the 2 of us can chill out and relax. Sounds nice, right? So in general, most of my liking for Leafeon is just pure imagination and chill factor, but I still love it dearly. If only it wasn't shit in this play. I carried on through the Winding Woods and found the gym leader of Snowbell City, Wolfric. He went back to his normal 7-Eleven job of being a gym leader, and I was able to finally challenge him to get my last gym badge. After struggling for way too long on the gym puzzle, I finally got to Wolfric, and I started the final gym battle, which was way more underwhelming than it should have been. Like, these gym badges are just too easy to get sometimes. Well, I've gotten all the gym badges now, so, what now? Defeating the champion, obviously. After way too many preparations, I settled on using this squad. Kitsune the Delphox, Crescent the Absol, Pandaga the Jolteon, Mystica the Sylveon, Amphi the Ampharos, and Mistletoe the Leafeon. I encountered Serena a final time, and like every other time, this battle was extremely one-sided. And with that being the only interesting occurrence, I was at the Pokemon League. Now, if you've never played a Pokemon game before, you need to beat 4 different trainers before you can fight the champions. So that's what I did. Wickstrom, Seabull, Malva, and Drasna. They were all going to go down. Wickstrom's battle was a pretty easy sweep for Delphox, until he ran out of PP for Fire Blast. Aegislash then took him out, and then my Absol, good job Absol, you did nothing. Jolteon managed to come through, getting an Oko with a Shadow Ball on the Aegislash. One Elite Four member down, 3 left to battle. Seabold's battle was way easier, as Mega Ampharos swept through his whole entire team. Sure, Gyarados was close to killing Ampharos, but that wasn't that big of a worry. It was the Barbaracle that was the problem. Why is that, you wonder? Because I got the urge to send out my underleveled Leafeon in hopes that I could get at least 1 KO in one of these battles. After spending way too long on trying to get a KO with Leafeon, it just ended up dying. Even sacrificing 2 Pokemon to help wasn't enough for it. So I finished the battle quickly with a Grass Knot from the Delphox. 2 down, 2 to go. Malva's battle was going to be a bit harder as I didn't have an answer for fire types. Even though I should have brought in Flygon instead of Leafeon, but I had a plan going into this gym. First, I got a KO with Mega Ampharos, and then it was time to execute my plan. Spam Calm Mind with Sylveon, Baton Pass into Jolteon, live on free HP with my pure skill, then sweep with Jolteon. Surprisingly enough, my strategy ended up working. This battle was finished. Only one member left, Drasna, whose battle was way too easy thanks to Sylveon. From Calm Minds to dodging attacks through friendship to spamming attacks, this battle was possibly the easiest out of the 4. And with that, there was only one battle left. One trainer was standing in my way from becoming the champion, Diantha, who I said had no relevance in the story, and I was mostly correct. The beginning of this battle was already set in my favor, as both her Hawlucha and Tyrantrum fell to my Sylveon. I matched my Delphox into Diantha's Aurorus, who strangely enough didn't use any Rock-type moves. You wanna know why? Because Diantha's Aurorus doesn't have any Rock-type moves.
You stupid.
Gourgeist came out and to my surprise almost killed Delphox, but I managed to survive on 22 HP, didn't get paralyzed, and one-shot the Gourgeist. Diantha sent out Goodra and I decided to retaliate with Absol, who instantly died again. Fuck! I Mega Evolved Ampharos, and after throwing out multiple Dragon Pulses and full restore spamming from Diantha, Ampharos had been slayed. Wow, what a loser. I cleaned up the remains of Goodra, and now there was only one Pokemon standing in my way, Mega Gardevoir. I revived Ampharos for this final challenge, and I managed to paralyze Gardevoir and get some good damage in. I sent out Jolteon hoping that I would be able to kill Gardevoir, but this just caused Diantha to use another full restore! Ah! Jolteon fell, and Leafeon rose, only to instantly fall afterwards. Although I wasn't able to beat the game with my favorite Pokemon of all time, I found it fitting to end it with my starter and favorite Generation 6 Pokemon, Delphox. He fired off one last Fire Blast, and it was over. The newest champion of Kalos was me. So to answer the question of can you beat Pokemon by only using your favorites, this actually doesn't answer anything. I don't know why you expected a proper answer at the end.